Good afternoon. So, morning, whatever. So, I don't know if I'm going to keep this video or not. Might be just a test run. It might just be me getting this out in a public fashion and then deleting it. I don't know what it's going to be. I have slowly, over the past couple of days, gone from this is going to be my own personal experience, like easy peasy. I got no reason to share this with anybody else. Well, maybe I should share it. I can give a condensed version, just in case, to explain what may happen later. I should at least have like a little footnote on it. And then it became an outline, and then it became, I think God wants me to share this, which is like, oh no. Okay. So this is going to be my test to see if God wants me to really like share it. So basically what happened was, I guess let me give you some backstory. So if you watch my other testimony video about the issues that I was having with weed smoking and all of that, and then I got filled with the Holy Spirit. I had this encounter with God, and that was September of 2022. Well, since then, I have fallen off the wagon, which is not really a great term because I wasn't really on a wagon. I guess, no, I was on a wagon. I was on a wagon for almost a year, and then I think August of last year, so almost a full year, like 11 months, August of last year, I did a backsliding video about it. I didn't really like specify what it was, but maybe I did. I don't remember. But just talking about that first initial realization, like, oh, just give it time, you're going to mess up. You're going to mess up. And the reason why I don't call it falling off the wagon is because it wasn't really like an addiction. It was this kind of new vice that I never had before that I now have to worry about. So, never had a problem with drinking, but never like got too far into it to see if I could develop one. I think most people though, like when you have these things in your life, when you have these things in your, you know, like genetically or whatever, it only takes like one, the first instance, and then it's you're off to the races. So I never had anything like that. So this was kind of like my first foray into having some outside external thing that I have to worry about. So I don't really consider it an addiction. It's not that powerful for me at least in that way. But it still is a challenge, but I don't pressure myself to just be like, okay, you can never because I don't like to put myself under that type of pressure. I just kind of go like, if you mess up, there's grace. And I know that I don't want to mess up. And I've got all types of like tricks of the trade that I use, which I think I've talked about before. So anyway, so I've fallen off the wagon since August of 2023 or not, or just whatever. I like maybe since then, let's see, it's April, almost May. So I don't know, I can't speak for the entire year. I'd say for like since the beginning of this year, I've probably smoked like a handful of times. And I have this pattern of just like, it's not even a pattern, it's just like I'll do it one time and then it'll be like, okay, that's, whatever. And then split second decision or whatever, and then go on about my life. And then maybe a little bit down the road, like I can never get past like three, it's like three strikes you're out. So like maybe a little bit down the road, I'll do it again. And then I'll do it one more time. And then that time will be the, oh my gosh, I'm never doing this again. So that kept happening. And when I had my experience with God, which was September 22, that had been like the highest I'd ever been. That was like the second time that I got like way higher than I ever wanted to get, right? Then after that, almost a year, nothing. And then my husband, who still, indulges, and he, that side of the family, like all my in-laws have like extensive drug abuse history, right? So they have their relationship that they have with drugs is like not something that you can. If everybody's functioning and has a job, they don't have a problem. Like they're like, what are you talking about? So and understandably, yeah, it would be hard probably to convince somebody like, hey, like this is not something that you need to have in your life. They just kind of like see that even from a Christian standpoint, it's not like, oh, well, it's okay. Like God is okay with me like doing this every once in a while. It's literally like we're walking miracles right now. Like no one is on the street. There's nothing is wrong. Like nothing is wrong. So, the conviction really has to come from a place, from an inside place, like, oh, I need more, I'm really just getting sloppy. I need more discipline. I need, whatever. And then you stop for a while, you stop for 6 months, stop for a year, maybe pick it back up, blah, blah, blah. So it's always a revolving door in my house. And so he was smoking, but he was not like when I was smoking the last time I was smoking with him, he was using weed. Now he's using the vapes, which I have noticed like this is like sweeping America. So now you can go down the store and get these vapes, and it's like so much more potent. It's like a strange, like it's not quite as like enveloping, I guess you would say. Like it really has a different tinge to it, but it can be like intense. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but and it's very easy to go beyond what you're used to and what you whatever. So um, with weed, it's a little bit harder unless you're buying a specific kind or whatever. But like literally, you can get like some little podunk thing from the store and like go off into space. It's terrible, actually. So and also like I don't know, his tolerance could be like who knows what it could be by now. And so I think there's a couple things at play. It could be like I basically have a pink lungs at this point in my life. But I do also think there's like a spiritual element to it too. It's not like I don't have any past trauma. I don't have anything that I'm not. It's not giving me like a reprieve from my horrible life to be high, like all of these other reasons that other people get hooked on drugs. Like, so it doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't do it always. I'm always like super affected by it, I guess. I don't know. But even when I try to get like some type of, uh, I don't know, some type of grasp on what I'm doing, some type of aptitude, it's just not possible. And that's usually when I'm like, oh, I knew I should have stayed away from this crap. I don't know why I keep doing this, right? So it was probably about like August. I went on a trip or something, and I think it was probably with the in-laws. And I have this joke. I was like, yeah, when I'm with the in-laws, it's like, it's like they treat it like a dinner mint or something. It's not like they're just like offering it up to you on a plate. So I think I fell off the wagon when I went on a trip, and then maybe like a month or two later, on a whim, I was just like, my husband had a vape, and I was like, let me have some of that. So he did, and then I don't remember any of those times. I just I just know that there's a lead up, because what happens is I get comfortable. I think, oh, like this is whatever, I can handle this or that, and then I do too much. So I think it was about, like, I want to say October of last year. I did too much, and it surpassed my previous record, which was when I had that experience with God, and I was like, okay, yeah, the vapes, no to the vapes. Just say no. Just say no. Like, it was horrible. I was like, I had to take a walk around the block. It was awful. Then I just had to lay down and try to keep my brain inside of my face. That was horrible. So then that, like, I was like, yeah, I learned my lessons from that. Then cut to maybe about, I don't know, February or something, maybe like 4 months later. I don't remember it, but I'm sure that I did something. And then like one or two times. And then uh and through this, like every single time, I'm talking to God, and I'm like, okay, what's keeping me going back to this? What am I missing? What am I missing? And I actually was like learning a lot, like specifically one time, like maybe this last time, he was showing me, like, I have this thing in my heart about, like, um, it's like this idolatry thing in my heart. It's not like I don't want to do wrong. I don't want to like mess up, or it's not even mess up, but it's like I want to be loyal and faithful. Like, I had this dream, and it was like he was like I was like married to Jesus or something, and he was like going off on a trip or something. It was like some convention was going to be in town, and I was like thinking about going to it, like, and then I was like, nah, like, you shouldn't do that, because it's like, so it was like I was thinking about going to go, like, have do the girls' night or whatever, and just like do some nonsense, not like go searching it out, but if it happens, it happens. Like, and he was just showing me, like, yeah, this thing of like, if an opportunity arises, you have to jump on it. You have to, like, you can't turn it down. And but like, it's because of something, like a belief that you have about that. It's like you have to, like, when is it ever going to come across in life, like, because nothing ever really came across in life for me like that. So it was like, I don't really know, I wouldn't know what to do in the face of that. If some opportunity arose, like, typically it's like not going to I'm not going to search it out, but if it happens, if all of the stars align, if every last single star aligned, and he was showing me, like, I thought that was like safe because I was being honest with myself, but it was also like, he's like, yeah, cosmic fate, like, you just assuming that it's not going to happen, but cosmic fate, idolatry is still idolatry. Like, if all the stars align to make some super to and collide together to bring some super opportunity, you have to take advantage of it because it's a one in a million thing. Like, that still counts. Like, so he was showing me that. So so I was learning, to sort of try to get rid of anything that was still in there. It was like, so I knew that was happening. So I wasn't, and like by that time, after like a year and a half, like, I have worked up some, like, scaffolding, some discipline, some, understanding, and this and that. So I'm not like worried about going off into this deep end, but I was in a place of just like, I don't know, you just think you're going to live a perpetual life of, I won't say that, but I was optimistic that I was going to be able to just kind of like never have to worry about it eventually. Um, And like every day that I was like, okay, I'm done with this, was the first day that I was never going to worry about it. Like I never pre-planned to do that, to do it. I tried not to, anyways. But I think that's what happens. It's like the first time you didn't pre-plan it. After that, and it's like day two or whatever, or a couple days later, or the next time, everybody's off. And another thing that I noticed was like my other temptation, like my main temptation is like if I am kid free or if I don't need to watch the kids because I know that they're all taken care of, they're all occupied, like not in a sense of like just day to day because they're all pretty independent, but just like they're off playing, they're off having a good time. Like, when I know that they are uh, not dependent on me at all for anything, like, whether it's entertainment or food or whatever, like that's when there's like this empty space of like, not it's like you trying to, the flesh is like trying to compensate and not have a single responsibility or something. It's really like this weird thing. So and I think that just unlocked when I started doing this habit, so it's just this thing that I have to contend with. But so yeah, so I think it was like 2 weeks ago or something. So I gotten like super high, like doing that vape thing. And that was like the highest I had ever been that trumped. So that was like number 3, right? So then in April, like, and the other thing is like, I noticed immediately like how like the vape thing is so unpredictable. It's like so like not the thing. But whenever I fell off the wagon in February or something, and I was like doing this like micro dose, like little because I was just scared to death of it. So then you get lulled, you think you got a handle on it, right? And then you end up messing yourself up. I mean, how many times can one person do this, right? So about 2 weeks ago, I messed myself up, like again. And I was like, and every time this happens, because something, I can't speak for everybody else. Everybody else is just sucking down vapes and going to work. I am going off to places. So just it's like being held prisoner in your mind, while you're in your mind where you can't even regulate anything in there anymore. You didn't let something else come and take over anything. So it's like, you don't know what you're about to go like endure. And so that's why it was so special that time when like God came and like took that over and made it like not torturous. So a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, I do it again. And I have now surpassed the third highest, which is higher than the second highest, right? And I'm like literally like, hey God, it's me again. Yeah. So I did it again. Like, yeah. I'm just gonna like sit in here. It was like sitting in the waiting room, waiting to go get like rocket launched to some horrible planet, and talking to God and just be like, hey, yeah, just don't let me, just don't be mad. Like, I always go through it expecting to like take my punishment. I don't go like, oh God, like be with me. I'm just like, yeah, no, I did this to myself and I just hope we're cool after this or whatever. And yeah, I know I said I'm not going to do this anymore, but like, I'm really not. So, um, so I did that and it was awful. It was awful. Like I low key, like I almost turned into a cartoon or something. Like it was terrible. It was like this horrible, like circus clown music that my brain made that just would not stop. Was it 10 minutes? Was it an hour? I don't know. It was just terrible. And there was like specifically there was a part where I feel like it was like the devil, or I'm always scared. I'm like, oh no, here comes the demons are gonna come torture me. Ah! Like I'm always like super paranoid about demons coming in, like making my life miserable. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna embarrass myself, and I'm gonna like, the kids are gonna see me, and it's just all gonna come crumbling down or whatever. But I don't like get like paranoid, which is actually kind of strange. I don't get paranoid. I think I think it's something spiritual going on because I know I'm very honest. I know why I'm there. I know what happened. I'm not trying to like get high in the sense of like I'm trying to get as messed up as I can. So I don't have like an eagerness like when I feel it coming on like that. I'm just like contrite and like I really think all of this factors in. I really do. So um there's just certain things that I remember about it that I was like, wow, I cannot believe. Like I do remember being like, I can't believe that I'm like this high. Like this is really. I just was like kept marveling about it. I was like, and like, but yeah, there was a part where it was like I felt like the devil was like um, answering me because I was like, "Ugh, I don't want to go through any like weird like subconscious doors. Like I don't want like. And he's like, yeah, you don't have any choice now. We're going through all the doors. Like he like trying to torture me with this like or like threaten me with this torture. But and I really was like thought that was going to happen and it didn't, but I was like trying to like do my best to like I don't know, it was like keeping my melting skin from like I don't know what I was doing, but anyway, that was that. And I was like, bro, I'm done with that, bro. Like this is just it's getting like I'm too old for this. This is getting like the devil's got a new thing out for everybody and that's good for that or what I don't know. He's just trying to get everybody to hell as soon as possible is what it looked like to me. It's like I guess somebody's enjoying that. Like I can't imagine like growing up not having like with only the internet and having that as your drug. Like not cigarettes, not weed, not like I'm just like okay, well, I guess this is like next level. This is the next level of whatever. Like, I'm glad I'm a grown woman, but yeah, this is not my vibe at all. Like, I was like, dude. But I also knew that I was going to be going out of town soon to see the in laws. And I was like, this was like, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. And so I was like, I don't think in 2 weeks I'm going to forget that nonsense. And also, like, I don't remember what my other thought was, but at the same time, I had this thing in the back of my mind because the flesh is always ready for some rebuttals and for some negotiations, and they're like, "Listen, you're never gonna get that high again. Like, all you got to do is not be crazy. Like, you can make it through, even if it was like my flesh is not even trying to negotiate, trying to get me to like do this all the time anymore." But it's just trying to get me to it's like my flesh knows that's not on the table, but it's just like you can survive a weekend like just doing the baby puff thing, like you'll never be that high again. Like it's just not possible, like because now you know, right? I was like, shut up. So that was my vibe. And so then I go down to the in-laws for vacation. And of course, it's in-laws are there. They got the dinner mints out. The kids are in the pool from morning to night. They come in, they eat a taco and go back out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of my vices or whatever. But by and large, I was fine. And then it was like we weren't really doing anything. We didn't have anything planned, so we were literally just like had nothing else to do. So I wasn't cooking, so I was like, I didn't have to do anything. So you know, but and then like the one that like there's different brands, different styles, different whatevers, and so um, the one that my husband had this time was just it was one that I remember him having. Oh, it must have been March because That's when I was with the in-laws, like before that. So that he had that one in March, and that one wasn't bad. So it wasn't February, it's March. And that one wasn't bad. So I knew that one. I was like, oh, that one is like uh, real whatever. So I think I got some of that like one night. It was like Thursday, and then Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, I uh, I got some more. It was like noon, and everybody had had lunch. Blah blah blah. So I got a hit off of that on in noon, and it was a standard amount, which I always say it's a standard amount. Like not like I just remember the time before that I just like lost my mind and forgot because I was trying to like it's not even worth going into, but I was trying to like get a decent high going, and so then I was like, wait, yeah, for like weed, that would have been a decent high. For your vape, for the vape, you're about to go to freaking Candyland. So, and that is what happened, right? Well, I know I didn't take a Candyland puff. I know I didn't. But I did notice that it was like usually like if it's on the surface, like you like cough a little bit. This thing was like going down into my all of my lungal areas. It was going in there. I was like, that's really strange. It's like that's really that was like an effective puff you just took. And within minutes, like when you do too much, and you start feeling it immediately, that's when you know too much because you got so much more feeling left to go. It shouldn't kick in as you're doing that. It shouldn't kick in as you're doing that. Like there's just no reason for that. So this is Friday. So Friday, I'm sitting there and I'm going, I'm going, I'm about to be higher than I was the last time. I'm about to be even higher than I was the last time. When I was turned into a cartoon character, yeah, I'm about to be higher than that. I already know. I'm like, I already know. 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 It's done. It's done. It's happening. So we do the dog and pony show, song and dance, where, he tries to take me outside for a walk. And I know that, the third highest time, when this is like all vapes, 3, 4, and 5 are all vapes. That time, like, I was able to walk around. The fourth time when I blew through that threshold, I was like, no, no walking, no walking, no walking. I got to lay down. So now I broke through the threshold again, like within 10 days. I don't have anything to say anymore. I don't have any like, oh, this is the last time I'm not going to do this again. So I get walked around the yard for like 5 minutes, which does nothing. But like first I was like, this might work. This might be okay. And then, but Axel was not helping me with that. So I was like, well, just lay me down. Just lay me down. So I got to go lay down in the baby's room. So I'm laying down in the baby's room, feeling like I'm probably going to die. I'm like, I'm probably going to die in here. Like, that you're not. Like, if I had my mind still, I would know, I would say things to myself about like, you're not going to die from this. But that was my feelings. Just like, let me just die back here, bro. Here's what we're going to do. So I'm now in a place where like, I don't really have my much of this like to help me. So I just start talking because I know like I just got to hold on to like God's like literally the hem of his garment through this thing. So I just start talking and I said, because I tried to convey to you like without spending a million years like just the level of high that I was. And meanwhile, again, I'm seeing other people walking around, sucking down vape smoke every like 15 minutes. I don't know what's different about me. I can speculate, but I don't know. I was, there's no words, right? So I just start, my mouth starts talking. And I just start talking to God. And I say, you know, God, I think that I was like, I want to be up there. I was like, I think what's happening is my will. I was like, I didn't know this. I said, I think my will is trying to go around me. I said, I didn't know that I have a will. Like, I know that I have a will. I thought that I could just say, like, oh, well, I'm not trying to like get to God or anything. I can wait until this whole thing's over. I don't need to like try to get up there. I don't need to try to like go into the glory, whatever. Like I could just tell myself those things and then my will would agree to that. I didn't know that my will could go around me like this. Like, and like, I'm not even reasoning. Like, I'm just saying this stuff. So I'm assuming that I'm saying true things because I wasn't, this was not rehearsed or anything. I was like, I said, I said, because I was like, this entire time I had a mask on, not on the outside for people in here. I had a mask on in here that I could actually just forego a like an effort, an attempt to get up there. But that was a lie. It was like my will just was like going along, pretending to be like whatever, and then it was like prison break, and just like went past me and smoked way too much stuff. I was like, I think that like that's what's happening. I didn't even say I think because I wasn't thinking. I was like, that's what's happening. I clearly want to be up there more than I even know. So I hope you got like the welcome mat out because I am on my way up there right now. So I remember saying that. I remember saying that, expressing that uh, out loud because I don't even know what's going on. I'm just in this room talking. And then, and then God responded. So then God responded. And it's like his voice, I can't hear my own thoughts anymore. I just hear his voice. And here's the thing, it's like when your brain is doing that, like I can hear God's voice or what I feel like is I hear God's voice, but there are checkpoints in here, you know what I'm saying? Like there's checks and balances. And a lot of times I will, I probably don't have as many as someone else of like, oh, is this God talking or not? But it was so like on autopilot. I didn't have the function to even filter what I was saying. So I can't filter this out and make it be saying something. So and it's almost like when you're dreaming and it's like, oh no, a beaver bear. And you're like, oh my God, what? Like your brain you're just responding to it. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, like, this is God talking. I mean, I'll go ahead and say, this is God talking. So God says to me, you think I don't know you? He's like, you think I don't know, like, that you want to be up here? You think I don't, you think you made a wrong move just now? You think you made a mistake? Is that what you think? Like, this is how he's talking to me. He's like, really think you think I don't know? Like, he's conveying to me that he's trying to convey to me a couple of things at once. That he knows me, he's in control of everything. And that what's about to happen to me has been orchestrated since the beginning of my life, because that is the level of planning we're dealing with. And he's like, here's the proof. And he's showing me my life. And he's showing me how everything in my life has prepared me to engage with him right now in the kids' bed without any, like, he purposely put things in my life. The all of the study, all of the things that I've ever, all the wisdom, all the discernment, all of the life experiences, so that I could have a smooth, enjoyable moment with him in the kids' bed at my in-laws' place. Like, he showed it to me. He showed it to me. So it's not like, girl, says what? He showed me he picked out, he went chronologically and like showed me the flashes of every relevant life thing that had to do with me in this bed with him. And then he was and then it's like it's happening all at the same time. It's all happening at the same time, but like he's showing me, I'm realizing it, and he's responding to me. Like, I don't hear my own thoughts. All I hear is his voice. Like, I hear his voice. He's showing me it. I'm like, and he's like, yeah, that's your God. Like, so like I got the overwhelming sense that, like, and when he said it, I was like, obvious. When he said it, it was obvious. It was like, not only did he orchestrate this moment, and it was like a surprise. It would be like if your boyfriend planned a date. Like, he planned it so that, like, the let me see if I can break it down. So, like, chronologically, he can plan all that. But like the life experiences, and like I wouldn't be surprised, like the way that it was forming, it was looking like all of the wisdom that he gave me was for that moment. It wasn't for to do something out here with anybody, which makes more sense, honestly, because nobody cares about wisdom. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about me having wisdom. Nobody cares about it in general. It just was like, what, like, it was like this, the wisdom was like this thing that made this event that should have been jarring and crazy and something that I could have to doubt later, and it made it like this smooth, noiseless, smooth ride where I could just enjoy it, because it was like every time my brain would try to like go off in a direction, it was like I had all of this scripture and all this equipment in my spirit to be like, no, it's fine. Here, see, it would be like 50 footnotes of like 50 sources on why this is totally correct. It was like so safety proofed, this safety proofed trip with God. And he was literally like trash talking me aggressively about like how wrong I am about, look, I don't know. Let me just back up a little bit because I don't know. Should I back up? I've been like part of the things that he was showing me throughout my life, like just for an instance, this didn't really come up. I don't remember it, but like for an instance, like the first time that I had this experience with him, where I felt like it was like I got the Holy Spirit, baptism of the Holy Spirit, whatever. Which that I needed that before this, so that I like because I went through that and then had a doubting period. I was like, well, what about this? What about that? And I was able to sort that out. So I needed to do that before this, but the prayer that I had been praying before that was not like get me off of this weed and stuff. It was like I need a bigger revelation of your love, like because I clearly don't have it. Like I don't have it. So maybe that will help me. And so that felt to me like an answer to prayer. Well, recently, I kind of felt like I was saying to him, like, I never made it official because I was thinking of like, you should ask God this. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. And then then I have to formally ask, like I never like, so I was toying with the idea of like trying to like asking him for like an evaluation, like because I constantly would do this and then back out and be like, you don't need that. Even it like because it was like even if it's first of all, if it's terrible, you're gonna be crushed. If it's great, you're gonna get a swelled head, or you're gonna be impossible to live with. You're gonna be like it's gonna be just whatever torture to be pulling teeth to like live every moment because you're just like just want to be in heaven. So like just one foot in front of the other, like blah blah blah. You don't need to know like how good you're doing. And I kind of had a phobia of it, and I felt like something was happening in me spiritually that was like letting go of that phobia. And so that didn't really come up, but that's just like an example of like what he would show me to show to like as proof of like that this moment like I like was already planned or whatever. So so he's going, I'm trying to like how can I like the vibe that he's giving me is a vibe that I recognize instantly, but I have honestly never heard anyone else get this vibe with God. Like it wasn't like my child. It was not like these like beautiful, crisp but Bible sentences, which I think is a result of my lifelong study of the parameters of God and just being able to see like, oh, he's not like this. He's not like this. His personality is not like, but to somebody else who can't handle like too much, you might be able to handle him laughing, crying, and quoting scripture. I have spent my entire life trying to like take the restraints off of my own mind so that I can really I didn't know it was for this, but he was showing me like he's like, you think you came up with that? You think that was yours? You think like so he's just showing me the level of planning that went into making me. Not because I'm special, that because he's special, but also I'm special, but that's just So he's showing me the level of planning that went into me and then planning these moments for me so that I could have this moment with him. And he's like aggressively trash talking me. He's like, "Oh, Christine, little Christine, she's such a nobody. You're going through your whole life like not being loved. You really thought that was going to be your life? You thought you're going to go through your whole life not being loved? Writing your stories about girls who go through their whole life not being loved. You think you wrote that? You think I don't know? You think you can come up with a story that I don't conceive first? Like, oh." And I'm just going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." Like literally Ashley had to come in and be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "It's perfect." I just look up to him, I'm going, "It's perfect." He's showing me it's perfect. He's like, "Okay, well, quiet down." Which then became so is that not enough? I don't know. Like, and he was just showing me, like, even as this was all happening, like it just like all of the things that make me up, and it's all relevant to like what's like he told me, he's like, "You can't make a mistake." To which my spirit or whatever was working was like, fact check. And I went through all of the stuff that I had ever put into myself, all of the stuff that I'd ever been through, and showing that he was right. He's like, "Yeah, I'm right. Test it out, keep testing it." And he was just showing like it was like whatever the word doesn't cover, my humility would cover it. If my humility didn't cover it, my wisdom covered it. If my wisdom didn't cover it, like, something else would cover it. It was like I couldn't go outside the bounds. It was impossible. And he also knew that that is super cool for me and freeing for me. Like, I would love that. So he planned that for me because it's like nerdy. It's like it's like nerdy holiness. It was like a nerdy holiness that he was showing me. Like, he's like, "See how you're a nerd about this? Like, I'm a nerd about the holiness." And so he made like he made this thing. What am I even saying? So, and like, I couldn't, like, he was saying things to me that I could not refute. Again, because like every time I tried to refute it, I had all of these things in place to make it impossible to refute, which he did so that I could hear him and listen and take it in and not have it just like wash out because it was just too unbelievable. And that was something that, like, throughout my life, that's a problem that I've had, where people will tell me things and it's like, I cannot retain it. I cannot retain it. I can't. Like, people would tell me that, or people would be like, "Oh, you're so this, you're that." And I'd be like, "How do you even know that?" I couldn't retain like a compliment from somebody because I'm like, "You don't even know me like that. How do you?" So part of it was he had made this thing where it was like foolproof so that I could retain it because he knew that I wanted that. But also it was God, and I didn't know that when God tells you something, you can't really refute it. Like, at least I couldn't. Um so he was telling me things that I just had to accept because I was logically incapable of it or whatever I was using. And then also, like, when God says it, it's a real compliment. Like, I wanted to absorb it because it was like, well, if he's saying it, he knows a thing or two about, what something is good, if something is good or not. Like, I trust what he's saying. So I was trusting what he was telling me. And then also, there was no way to refute what he was saying. But he was basically telling me that, like, my desire for him had been tested and tested and tested and tested to see if there was any impurities in it. And there wasn't any. And I don't like that's not a direct quote. That's like a thing that I was getting from him. So I don't know, like, but I'm pretty sure like I can say that. I don't want to like you like not true, fake news, but that's what he was getting across to me. And just like everything about me is his design, like, and like this I have actually been in pursuit. Like I've been doing this for a while with him, and he appreciates that. He appreciates it, but he made it. So it's just like I'm doing what like I like. He was like, "You're the whole thing is perfect. You can't have a wrong thought." Like that's what he's telling me. He's like, "You can do whatever. It's perfect." And like I can't explain like how I was testing it out, like with my like there was like I was kind of like floating like at some point like because that was like when I was starting to get high that's when he started I started hearing his voice. So then it's like getting going even further out and I'm like seeing these like I don't know fractal things. I'm like floating in a whatever, bro. So I think early on I just like wrote down some highlights. So like early on, like right somewhere in between him telling me like, you know, giving me the barrage, literally a barrage of rhetorical questions of like, you think that you're like, this is, you think you don't know, I don't know anything about you, think whatever. And, you know, as it's getting more like, uh, intense, aggressive, I don't know. So now my brain, like part of me is like wondering like, okay, is this the devil? Like, cause it was just so like, I now know like that was the point. It was like he wanted that to be like a surprise. But like at some point, like something in me was like, this ain't the devil, is it? Like, and it wasn't like I was rejecting it. I was just, you know, it's just a fail-safe thing in your brain that you know, whatever. Part of me was like, I don't know. I'm like, I hope it's not because I'm gonna just have to explain after it's over because I cannot, whatever. But I was like, oh, this ain't the devil. And at some point, he was like, he's like, the other guy, really? Really? He was like, you think the other guy can break down your life and put it all in a pattern like he was making fun of me. He was just like, or he was just like, the energy was like, have you ever, like, if you have a friend that's like a super planner or a super whatever, just good at whatever they're doing, and they're like, do you know the level of planning that went? He's just like, you are not understanding. Like, he wanted me to understand what we're dealing with here. Like, and tell me in a way that was like not this like pretentious like but I mean he does the same thing in the scriptures, you know, where he's like I did this, I did that, like he's constantly like it's like so yeah, if you're the artist, if you're the painter and you went and you traveled the world to find the specific blue that you could mix with the yellow to make the green that you needed. It's the only green that exists. That's your shade of green. And you got somebody else just saying like, you know, whatever. It's like that's the level of that you're putting in. Like you got to blow off some steam. He was like blowing off some steam, but in a nice way. Like he wasn't really blowing. He wasn't like I can't believe it. Like he wasn't like doing that. But he was just like, um, rapid fire like do you understand what's going on right now, like do you know how much thought I put into you, like that type of vibe. So at some point I was like, oh, this is I'm gonna go crazy in here, like you're just gonna like So you're showing up like this is where what we're doing. Like I'm just gonna like act a fool in here and people they're gonna call the police. And he's like, no, you're not. And he brought it all the way down. Because the whole point, let me just finish. Okay, so he brought it all the way down and he was showing me how I had complete control of my outside. It was like because self-control is a fruit of the spirit. And that blew my mind honestly because I don't know, you see ecstatic experiences and just like the nature that you think that the higher it is or the more intense it is, the less control you're going to have over it. And now he was showing me like, and I think part of it too was that because he knew that I was afraid of that or on some level somewhere. And so he like was making it possible. Like maybe for somebody else, maybe they need to like, have an outburst. Maybe that's what they, that like that wasn't my issue. Like I was willing to have an outburst, but he was just like, no, we're not going to have an outburst. Calm down. Like, or it wasn't even like calm down, but it was like, we can be in here and you don't have to like, you don't have to do that. And he just like instantly like showed me like all of the control, the master that I had in my own body. Bruh. So pretty much after that, it was like, so then, yeah, so he was showing me, like, I can't even really explain what he was showing me. It was like this fractal pattern looking thing. And but it was supposed to, it was like my life or just all of it. And he was just showing me how it was perfect. And like, and then, yeah, part of me would be like, and he'd be like, yeah, test it out. Yeah, test it out. And somehow I was testing it out. And it was like I would like try. It was like I would go try to do a hypothetical, like throw it into a hypothetical situation or something like that. And it was like it was like one of those magnetic things that would just it would form and like retain its perfection. I don't even know what I'm trying to explain, but that's what was happening. But like the more I would do that, the more like I could like it was like I was starting to believe it or I was believing it, but it was like the testing it is like it's like something instinctual you do. It's like when you tie a knot and then you tie the knot and then you like test the knot, you jerk it to see if it really, it's like if you have a chair, you like you like put your hand in it first to see if you and test the weight of it. So it's like I was testing the weight of this whole thing. And I was just getting more and more relaxed. And I was also like so high that I was just like, so what do I do now? Like, how am I gonna, so what, I'm gonna just be in heaven now? Like, do I not get to go in the rapture? Like I thought I was just there. Like I thought like I was gonna be done. I was done. I thought I was done living life. And like everything that led me to this moment led me here. Like to this exact moment, and then this is where I'm going to be at now. So but it was weird about that is like that's why I was asking him. I was like, yeah, but so what am I going to do though? So I was like asking him questions based on my weird high state like of that I did not understand. So I was just like, well, what happens now? Like am I dead? Am I like are they gonna find my body? Like he was just like I didn't say that right away, but I was just like, how is this gonna work though? Like I think I started there, and um, he was like, it's all gonna work. Like he was answering my question like way broad, so that was even more confusing because I was like, yeah, but how am I gonna stay here? Like this isn't heaven though. Like because I wasn't in like how do and he was like, you'll get there. We're gonna get there, and he was like explaining it was like the foreverness. Like it's really just explaining the like trying to get me to understand the foreverness of it. So at some point I was like, this is like I was basically It's like, oh, you're like, you made this whole thing just for me to enjoy this. And he's like, yeah. Like, he was like, yep, that's it. That's literally the whole point. That's the only point. That's the whole point. And I was like, I can just be in this forever. I was like, I'm going to be in bliss forever. He was like, you're going to be in bliss forever. I was like, but like, are we going to like do like preliminary things? Like, cause I'm just like, I feel like I didn't get like a courtship or nothing. We just went straight into like, I made you to be like with me, whatever. So I'm like, are we not gonna do? He was like, we can do that. We can do that for a lifetime. He's like, we can do that for a whole lifetime. We can do that. We can just do just that for a lifetime. Like, which is him like being like he doesn't have restraint. Like I'm not gonna do this again, but I'm not explaining this all right at all. But like he doesn't have any restraints. So like whatever you want to do, whatever. I'm just like whatever. Like just the limitlessness of it's so much better than it's so limitless compared to like evil things. Like God is like got so many options. Like you don't need to open up the evil to have more options. Like that's not you're opening up this horrible thing to get like 12 more options. It's not even worth doing. So um let me see if there's anything else that I could really add. I mean, like he really was like when he was he was showing me that it was perfect and I was understanding even though I can't explain it to you. But he was like I was understanding what he was showing me and he was like it's perfect. You keep like try to find a flaw. Go ahead. You can't find a flaw in it. Like it was and like it was like if I moved my arm it was perfect. If I thought a thought the thought was perfect. Like what am I even saying? So anyway, that happened, and I was gonna not like. I was just gonna like keep it to myself because I don't need anybody to believe what I'm saying or whatever. But it's only been like a couple of days. It's totally like reformed my entire identity. So I know like some stuff is going to result from it. So I just felt like if somebody needs to be like, "What happened to you?" I can have this already pinpointed down. That was like my main motivation. But I'll be honest with you, I really don't want to share this thing with y'all. Like this is the first time, which makes me think, okay, maybe it is of God, like that, and maybe I'm supposed to do it because I don't want to share it. It was just gonna be my thing, like me and God's thing, and like it's still like abridged, but it's also fading, so I don't really like, I don't remember that much of it, but like as far as like what happened, but I just continue to reflect on it and like some of the things he's like reminding me of, like the whole thing about it's perfect. Like there was something where he was saying like it'll hold, like, and I was like, I remember I was saying, yeah, but even now, like I was like, I'm coming down, I can feel it. Like, so what do you mean? He's like, it will hold through that. Like how long do you think eternity is? Like I don't know what he was trying to say to me, but like I can't tell you about it. But like he like said that like the other day, like he's just like it's still holding. So it's like there's things that I learned there that like I'm still kind of using, like things that he showed me there that I'm still kind of I don't know. But it's also like I don't need to do that. There's nothing I need to do. Like he showed me that whatever direction I went in is like would be a right direction. And I can't explain it to you if you're confused. He just showed it to me. He used my entire life to show that to me. So I understand it from that. But I can't like break it down. And I don't know if it's true of everybody. I don't know. This was so pinpointed down to my own life. It so just was a 100% about me specifically, like creation number 1005876912. But even that is like, that's just me trying to, um, downplay it because it was so like he went out of his way to show me like how um, much detail he put into everything. So, yeah, that's just a little tidbit of what happened to me on Friday. And yeah, God is real and he's out here. Like, I don't really know what else to say about it. But it really was like, I really do have a sneaking suspicion that literally everything in my life, like, it wasn't like, it's because that's not even hard for him to do. He's like, I want to have this like special like 34 minutes or whatever it was where it was like nonstop, like however long it lasted, the height of it lasted. It's like, I want to have this moment with her in 2024. So let me like orchestrate all of these things together so that when that time comes, she will have the fortitude and the willingness and the humility and the this and the that to do that. That's all he did. Like, as far as like mechanically, but it blew my mind for sure when he showed it to me. Uh, Obviously, like, but he was just like, and then he was like, "Yeah, is your mind blown?" Like, he's just like braggy, but it's like, how is it braggy if he did it? Like, it's just his life, but he's just like, uh. So, do I have anything more to say about it? Not really. Not really. I don't think. Um, I mean, I didn't do it justice, but who cares? Just know that I'm just like telling you. I'm just telling you that it happened. Uh, you don't need to have it justice done to it. Um, but yeah, so maybe that'll be the last testimony video that I ever make. And he also did tell me, like, if I ever smoke again, I'm going to end up back there. And this is like, that's actually a perfect example of what we're talking about. So he told me that. He's like, if you ever smoke again, you're going to end up right back here with me. And he had the freedom to say that. Like for me, I would say, like, well, I can't tell somebody that. They'll be smoking every day. I'm so perfectly in my proportions that, like, what I know about the word, this facet of me, this wisdom, this or that, like, he doesn't have to worry about me becoming a junkie because he told me that. He's like, you can't, it's all in balance, it's all working together to make your life going in this direction. Again, I don't know if that's true for everybody or not. I can't vouch for that. Because everything, it was very specific to me, but it was like, that's what he told me. Do I have a burning desire to do that again? I actually don't. And it's because I also trust, because I saw it myself, so I trust what he said. And I'm completely honored. Like, so I trusted what he said, and I'm not worried about it at all. There's so many things I'm not worried about anymore. I can't even express it to you. So many things I'm not worried about. And just recently, I was like, yeah, I was worried about this. I'm worried about my diet. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. None of that matters. And I was like, I got to go back and reread like everything. And I was like, oh, I get to go back and reread everything now. Like, and he was like, I got you. You can't do this better than me. I got you. So he's just basically like, if delighting in me is what you want to do, then boy, do I have something for you. That was the vibe. That was the vibe. So he was like, yeah, I'm just going to keep saying the same thing over and over. So, anyways, I'm going to get off here. That's all I have to say to y'all today. I guess I can post this, whatever. It's fine. It turned out fine. So, all right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.